What's up guys, this install video is going to cover how to put on our DeBerti machined tow hooks for the F250 to F450 XLT models all the way to Platinum. There's two little minor steps that are a little different, but fast forward to the end for the Platinum. We're gonna play the XLT one first, but anyway, super simple. And so we got the XLT model here, and then we got the Platinum. These ones have our polished tow hooks on them. So the bumpers are a little bit different, and that's why we're gonna walk through this video and show you guys. My dad's gonna walk through the steps. What are the first steps then?
First step, take and disconnect the lights.
You got one plug on the driver's side front of just all the fog lights, if you have the fog light option, so unplug that. So once you have that unplugged, you're going to unbolt these two bolts right here. You got two on each side. And then once those are done, you're actually gonna unbolt the 8 in the front. So you got two here, two here. Well, let me focus the camera. And then you have them on the other side.
It's a 15 millimeter on the inside.
15 millimeter on the inside. All right, so now he's using an 18 millimeter, taking off the front 8 bolts.
But get them loose first. Get both of them loose, because otherwise the bracket in the back will spin. So if you take one out and try to do the other one, it'll spin around.
Basically what he's saying, it's a bracket like this, which is one piece. So you want to take them both out at about the same time.
Yeah, because they're Loctited in. If you take one out and try to do the other one, this will spin.
Okay. So he's taking off the last bolt. You got it? They really did make the bumper super easy to come off, huh?
Yeah.
So just to restate, these brackets are bolted onto the front frame horn, so we're gonna have to do one cut to get this off, but this does not interfere at all with cutting the frame. This whole piece is bolted, but it's easier to cut these off while they're bolted on the truck. That way you could get some leverage and have a nice cut. You could either use a Sawzall or a cutoff wheel to cut this. Dad, what are you gonna use?
I'm gonna use the Sawzall.
Sawzall? Okay. All right, so we got the bumper off. As you can see, we have the bracket still bolted, and my dad is just taking the Sawzall and just cutting off just this part. So he's just cutting here. Again, this is not the frame rail. This is a full bolted on bracket. This is connected to the bumper bracket, so you just do one cut here. So as you can see, he just literally cut the front of the hook off. Now these 4 bolts right here are going to bolt on our tow hook. So what he's probably going to do right now is just touch these up with a little black paint, undo these 4 bolts, then bolt our hook right in place. As you can see, it's going to go right there, and it will cover up the old hook, so you'll never see it. So he's just going to touch it up. You could use whatever black paint you guys have. That's just so you know, it doesn't rust and it's coated. So he's unbolting the factory bolt. And those just go right in place. See, we purposely machined out all this to clear all the factory cuts. It's kind of cool because it utilizes all the factory hardware, bolts right on. So once you cut off the factory hooks, put on our hooks, all bolted on, you want to take the factory bumper.
Put a tape line.
Tape line. We're going to come through and we're just going to cut off the factory plastic here.
Then we're going to leave about 1 inch from here to here. So this tape is 3/4.
We're using 3/4 tape, so he's just kind of using it as a spacer. But we're basically just going to cut this whole thing off here. Just factory plastic. It cuts super easy. Make sure you have gloves on for safety. On Dad.
Safety and a sharp razor blade knife.
or scissors or whatever you guys got.
So basically, see how this is cut here? Show them on that side.
See, all this is cut out now.
Funny.
All right, so you're going to just
sharp razor blade knife. This cuts it like butter. Matter of fact, cuts it real fast, so be real careful.
Or you could use scissors or whatever is safe. Whatever you guys feel that is the safest thing to use.
Try to make it as straight as you can. Get this piece out of the way, it's easier to see. Then you can see your line nice and straight. Just follow your tape line all the way down to the bottom. Boom! Then you can punch right above that line, and you can just follow this. You could use this right here as your guide and just go all the way to there. All the way to there.
So this for the XLT model, the only difference for the Platinum would be we actually will supply these pieces that will glue back on, because this is just a little bit different style and you have to cut a bigger hole in this fender. So this is just a beauty plate that covers it to make it look factory. On this one, it's much simpler. So we just cleaning it up with a file. Super easy. Here to clean up this side. You literally can see we just barely cut off. Well, I'll show you. We cut off this piece right here. That's originally where this was. Let me focus the camera. So this is originally where this was. So you're just cutting this little piece off. We left about 1 inch on this side, 1 inch on that side. Cut it off, drop it out. Now our hook's gonna slide straight through there. All right, so we just put on the other side, bolting all back up on the factory bracket. So we got the hooks on. We did our cuts right here on both sides. And now we're about to slide this bad boy on. Straight through there. You can see just the difference. Here's factory. Here's our hook. You can see how much bigger it is than this little guy. So now we're going back on with the bumper.
Put the brackets in the back first. On the back. Yep.
See, it just slid right on. Those hooks are so much more beefy. Whew. Look at those. Man, it makes the factory hooks look cute, huh, Dad?
Yeah.
And then you just bolt up the bolts that you undid, plug your wire back in that you unplugged right there, and then you guys are good to go.
And
so again,
make sure to lift the bumper.
Yeah, you lift it as you're tightening it to adjust it to your truck, because there's quite a bit of slack. But again, this is for the XLT model.
Well, first, these plastic pieces in the front, they just pop off. So they're just little speed clips. What you want to do is get an 18, and there's 4 bolts in the front. There's 4 on the other side, and on the back side of the bumper,
Here, show us. I'm going to the back
which you've already
side.
removed, there's 2 right here.
So there was 2 there. And then if you have fog lights, do you have to unplug anything?
There's 1 plug underneath.
All right.
All right, so let's
Copy
buzz
that.
this way off.
You know what's funny? Most companies installation videos are probably all professional, and mine and yours are just uncut. Huh?
That's how they should be. So I've already got 1 tow hook on here. So look what you have to do. So basically, this aluminum hook comes around and up. So the factory hook, which is right here, you're going to cut this either with a Sawzall, even with the metal, or a die grinder. That's all you got to do.
So our hook, utilizes all the factory hardware in the truck already. All you guys have to do is just cut this off. Now, however you cut it off is your decision. You could do a cutoff wheel, you could do a sawzall, whatever. But my dad's gonna demonstrate right now. But the fun part is it's very easy.
Most people don't know this, but do not go wide open on a sawzall, because what happens is the blade has so much friction that it'll get these teeth so hot they melt. So you just want to be quarter to a half.
In other words, just don't get that blade too hot. So the only step is to unbolt the front bumper and then cut off that front hook, and then you guys are done. And it's your choice. You could either touch that up, which I personally would,
Black paint,
just so rust doesn't get on it. But you just touch this up, and then you guys are good to go. The cool part about our hook is it's going to cover up all this, so you guys don't have to worry about how that's going to look. As you can see on this one, it comes up so high that it covers up all the old cuts and everything. So he's just touching it up. Done.
So we're going to take these 4 bolts out now. As you can see,
factory bolts.
Yeah, you're going to use the factory bolts. See how much stud is coming up through? So the hook is going to take up that 1/2 inch of space. So use the factory bolts.
So this self-aligns with all the holes. So when we bolt this thing back on, the bumper is going to be in the same location.
450.
Alright, so my dad is bolting on the polished version of our front tow hooks. And you can see he's using just all the factory hardware. Going back on the 4 factory bolts. So he's putting on the second one. Man, those things are way polished.
To a near
Look
finish.
at the reflection off these guys. So if you guys got the polished version, you can see how polished they are. This is our build that we did for SEMA, if you guys didn't see it. Alright, so once you have the bumper on, what do you got going on here then?
All you're going to do is do a 2.5, measure up 2.5 inches, 5.5, right before that bevel.
And then you're just going to cut it out, right? Just cut out a square. That way this right here will just slide right over the hook.
Yeah, and I recommend you guys putting tape. Just put tape on your hook on any color.
That way you don't scratch it. And
then this filler piece is going to double side tape back on. It's going to cover what you cut out.
Perfect. So even if you mess up on the cut, this is a beauty ring that's going to cover back over it. So he's cutting out the plastic right now. It's actually like a rubber, huh?
Yeah, I'm just using a pair of scissors.
You don't got to get too crazy. Just, again, we have our beauty ring, so even if your cut's not perfect, this beauty ring's going to go over it and make it look perfect. Alright, so he cut out what was it, 2.5 by 5.5?
Yep, 2.5 by 5.5, and then that clears the hook. So when you put this on, this goes on nice and perfect. Snap it back in. Peel the double side tape off. Make sure and alcohol clean your plastic. Take the tape off.
And then this will cover up any mistake you may have done when you guys were cutting this. But yeah, as you can see, it makes it look like it's factory. And that right there is the DeBerti F250-F450 hooks. This one's a platinum, this one's an XLT. Wanted to show you guys the differences. This model has a different bumper than this one. As you can see the differences, both the hooks is the same exact part number because they'll work on either truck. The only difference is if you have the platinum, it'll come with this plastic piece to go around the factory bumper because you actually have to cut out a different section. On this one, you open it up just a little bit to get the hook to slide through the bumper, and you can't even tell. So that is the only difference with the DeBerti F250-F450 hooks. Other than that, you guys could just see how much it changes the front of the truck.